Hello folks, welcome to my YouTube channel, Watercolor Impressions. This week we are going to take a reference from Ontario Place and we're going to try to stylize this painting. Before you go, hit the subscribe button so you guys can get weekly video updates from our channel. And let's get started, guys. Whenever you do watercolor painting, you try to sketch everything really light because you don't want your sketch show through it. The one thing we have to keep in mind when you're painting something like is to simplify. Now the Ontario place is broken down into because there is a lot of construction happening. They're planning to build a spa, and as you can see in the reference, there is a lot of construction site. But I really like that a mobile portal which is in the white and blue in color, because that will provide a little bit of color in our painting. And whenever I do a painting, I always think about not to create monotonous painting. And the other thing is I also added a couple with a boat in the foreground as well, so that helps to create as a little bit of interest in our painting as well. When try to create a stylized painting, and what I mean by stylized is it kind of looks like cartoonish as well as it's telling a story. And this can be used for storyboarding as well as for some illustration work, just to have fun with it. So you're not obsessed with your reference and you're trying to stylize when you paint. And this also will be really less stressful because you can also come up with your own style as well. So I started with the blue wash, the cobalt wash, and I also use a little bit of cerulean. And I also mix a little bit of warmish glow in it, like orangish color in it. And I'm also leaving some white bits for there's a lot of walkway there, and I'm also starting a little bit of blue for the water, and I'm also getting onto the boat, and I'm using a little bit of red in it. And you can see I'm also using a lot of tissue and to take out some of the paint where I don't want to be really strong. I want this fairly to be a little bit weak so that we can put anything we want. In the foreground, I also left the grass, and now I started with the background. So when it comes to background, I want to push this background even further. So I really simplified it, and I used a little bit of green and a little blue in it. So that gives this bluish green, and it also creates this depth in the background as well. When you do something like this, try to keep in a way that your focal point is the Ontario dome, and as well as the reflection on the water. There's also a small house which is sitting on the grass. I used a little bit of red and burnt sienna on it, and you can see I'm also trying to do this wet on wet. So once I added a shadow on it, it will give this impression of lighting and shadows. And you can see when it comes to stylized painting, you try to show everything a little bit of in brighter colors than instead of showing things as it is. For example, the tree which I'm blocking now, even though it's a warmish green, I'm trying to make it as bright as possible just to give the stylized look. And you can also see I made a change that it goes behind the dome than in front of the dome, because that also disturbs our focal point. So I want to push that back. It also helps to frame the dome as well. And you can see that mobile portal, I also used a little bit of cobalt blue in it, and I also combined with the tree as well. So now let's focus on the dome. So for the dome, it's a little bit tricky and it's really complicated. So we have to simplify it in such a way that we try to capture the essence of that thing. So I wet the paper with a little bit of amber and a little bit of white in it, and I'm trying to add some grayish tone at the bottom of it. So once it dries out, I'm going to block some lines here and there just to show there's some pattern happening. And I'm going to splatter some water in it and try to break it. And you have to do it really fast, or else the pattern will stick as it is. Because I want to, I don't really like the tight look, since we are going to give the stylized look on our dome. You can see as soon as I create it, I splatter some water and I try to break it. And when you squint your eyes, if you see the reference, it also sitting on the ground, so I want to create that ground shadows as well. And I'm also picking some warmish tones at the bottom. I'm also putting that as well. And you can see, and at the top, I'll just take a tissue paper and I'll just like try to dab it off. And you can see I left some eyelets in the middle at the top, and the left we kind of created that little bit of mid-tones and darker tones on top of it. And the rest I'm going to keep it really simple. And then I'm going to add a couple of figures to show how big is the dome. In any kind of painting I do, I usually add figures just to show the scale of my environment or the scene what we are painting. And now I'm adding the bridge, and for the bridge I'm trying to keep it really simple as well. So I'm also trying to add this shadow pattern on the grids which the dome is sitting, and this also helps to give that stylish look on our the dome as well. And if you can see, if you paint it as it is, it takes a really long time to block each and everything with a precise look. But whenever I paint, I try to paint loose. Also, we're trying to stylize this painting as well. So as soon as we added that, we also capture the impression of the pattern from our the dome as well, and it also looking closer to it now. And at the bottom, I'm also trying to combine the trees as well as with the dome. So now I jumped on to the figures on the boat. So since we finished everything else, so I'm jumping onto it. So there's one trick to make your painting stylish is putting really bright colors. And being said that when you do that, try to have shadows on your colors as well, or else it's gonna look really weak, and it also looks really flat. So whenever you paint, try to show everything in a form, in a 3D form, and shows that it has some kind of depth in your scene. And you can see in a quick confident way I blocked in everything. So now I'm going to use Cobalt Blue, and I'm going to keep it really weak in the distance. As it comes to the foreground, I'm going to build the pigment a little bit darker, so it kind of creates this illusion of depth as it goes down. If you go out and see the water, as it goes out, it gets lighter and lighter. And you can see I used a clean brush, and I wiped the paint whatever I put wherever the dome is sitting on the water. So the other way to think about water is to think of it's a plane and it's a glass, so it's going to be reflecting what is up front. And I'm also blocking the foreground foreground grass. And you can see I'm also adding some white bits here and there to kill the monotonous, and it also gives this crisp look, staccato look in our painting as well. And you can see in a couple of minutes we kind of captured everything. But being said that I didn't paint this fast, I sped up the video 5 times. I wish I can paint this fast, but watercolor is a really fast medium. It helps you to capture the essence of the scene really fast than any other medium, and that's why I'm able to paint every day. I always tape my watercolor painting, and it shows that how my painting gonna look like when it's framed. And it also gives this crisp edges and gives that painterly look, and it rather came out nice. So now it's your turn. Take one of your reference and stylize it with tips and insights I gave you, and let's see what you can come up with. Thanks again for watching this stylized painting tutorial. Please feel free to share your thoughts on the video in the comment section below. If you have any other topics related to watercolors that you would like me to cover, please reach out to me at watercolorimpressions@gmail.com or leave a comment down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for weekly uploads, and share with your fellow artists, friends and family. And good luck with your painting, folks.